If you're curious about the digital port of the board game Frosthaven, Cax and I have had a chance to preview it. We're going to check out what the mechanisms are like, the aesthetics, the sounds. We're going to compare it to Gloomhaven Digital. We'll also compare it to Frosthaven Physical here on Legendary Tactics.
So Flash, before we start, I wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Art Games. We really appreciate their sponsorship of this video, and that we encourage you to click on the link below for the access to Frosthaven coming out July 31st.
There's a few different places you can play this too. Steam, or you can play it on the Epic Games Store. So why don't we begin with this is a completely different experience of the board game Frosthaven in its digital form. So Cax, can you tell me how does the game port, how does it change the experience of the game?
So obviously you're online, right? So you're looking at the screen. You're not around the tabletop, not sitting with your friends there. But I know you and I playing it. I felt you still do get caught up in the storylines and the intrigue of each map you go through.
Yeah. So here's the problem: you live 2.5 hours away. And for us to get together to play Gloom, when we get together, we play about 30 games, but we don't have time to sit down and play like 8 missions of Gloomhaven, which, I mean, if you can do that, that's fantastic. And you have to have the right gaming group for that. This is one where you can pull in different players at different times, and it's scalable. The game takes care of all the adjustments to the difficulty level based on the number of players. So I found this experience works really well for me as a person who has a hard time gathering my friends.
Right, just for a distance perspective. That's very true. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, does it feel like you're playing a video game when you play this, or does it feel like you're playing a board game?
That's a great question. I actually really think that you're kind of diving into the board game component, even though the digital hand is leading you along. I really felt like you've got just the whole board game vibe in front of mind as you play. And the beautiful part, as you mentioned, is that whole rules enforcement, and the game is kind of leading you through the events of the game, which is kind of a neat, along with your friends, obviously, that it's a neat experience.
See, I love to argue against you and challenge you and everything, but I find myself having a hard time doing that because you get the cards coming up on screen. It just feels like your hand is there and you're playing them. You've got the hexes that you're moving through. It's a turn by turn. I go and then you go, and where there's a little bit of simultaneous play, and then we execute our maneuvers based on the initiative. So I would agree with you 100% that it does feel, even though it's in a digital space, it does feel like a really fancy, well rules enforced board game.
So, Flash, let's move along to mechanisms.
Yeah, so this is, if you've played Gloomhaven, then you will immediately be able to jump into this. There's a few nuances of where to click and how to get players to join, those sort of interface challenges. But when you get into the gameplay, the cards come up really nicely on the left. If you don't know what the iconography means, you can hold the B button and it tells you, oh, this means muddle, this means pin. So it can remind you of that. So it's almost like the rule book is integrated into the gameplay based on what rules you need to know at what time. But in terms of everything else, it's frankly identical.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. Concur there as well. You're seeing the game digitally.
So, Cax, let's talk about the aesthetics, the sound, the visuals. How does the experience change based on those new added elements?
So, Flash, I think there's two main ways that those really shift with the digital implementation, and then that would be through auditory and through tactile. So the auditory, you're going to gain a lot more, obviously, like flavor text reading back to you. That was in Gloomhaven. They did a great job of the flavor text. Or the sound effects of the game. Then on the other hand, you won't have that tactile component as prevalent, obviously, in the digital game.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So it feels really familiar. I'm glad you mentioned Gloomhaven Digital, because when I play this, it feels like a continuation of Gloomhaven. So if you've invested time in learning that system and enjoying that, then I think Frosthaven is going to be something that continues with that. It's a very familiar environment.
Oh, absolutely. To compare those two, it's just it's a seamless transition to go from one to the other. I would say, because you're looking at very similar digital implementation from Gloomhaven.
That's right. Now, one of the big changes too is to what degree does a new player understand the game when they play the physical version versus when they play the digital version? The digital version teaches you what you need to know, and you're compartmentalized with this is the icon that I need now. So for some players, they're going to really enjoy that. Other players who are looking for a much broader view of the game and understanding all the nuances of everything, you can access that a little more readily in the tabletop game. But if you're a person who likes a focused approach, then this would be good. Setup time obviously is massively reduced in this.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it just populates everything. It controls all the AI baddies itself. And something that you and I both need, Nate, not so much, but something that I need is rules enforcement. So if I click on something and I think I'm going to poison the other guy, and then suddenly I end up poisoned, it's because I misunderstood the card and it applied to me instead. That's just the cost of, doing business with that card. This really enforces, and I know I don't have to worry about learning any of that. So for me, that's something that I think lands really well.
And actually, Flash, to follow up with that comment, the way I learn games best is actually through playing. And
Yeah,
so I've played many of the games where online digitally where a mistake or not a mistake happens, an event happens that I wasn't expecting, and then I'm puzzling out why did that happen that way, and so it's actually forcing me to learn the game better. So
right.
I've actually learned a lot more in deeper depth to this game through the digital,
So
which I
funny. I think
appreciate.
there's two main types of gamers. Those who learn by reading rule books, crunching them, or watching the how to play videos online. And like if it's an hour long how to play, I can't sit through the whole thing. I need to watch it in chunks, and I need to go and implement what I'm doing. Like I'm a tactile learner like you. And
Yep,
then there's the people like us where we just want to go in and pull levers and push buttons and just try things out and see what happens. And we will
exactly.
fail and we will get things wrong, and that's okay. So, but I think this is a good balance for us because it teaches us, and we'll make our mistakes, but easy to learn.
And Flash, you know what? At Legendary Tactics, the very common phrase is "Let's just play."
Let's just get going. Yeah, Nate's still reading the rule books, and we're like, let's just dive
Let's just
in.
play.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this was a really fun experience that I had with you. So, thank you for joining me on that. And we really want to thank Arc Games for supporting this video. Make sure you get a copy of this if you haven't tried it yet. Down in the description, you can click on the link, which will lead you where you need to go to get this. So, Steam, Epic Games,
So don't forget to get out there
get gaming.
and
Be
be legendary.
legendary.